Hey, what's up, Kevin Bros? Welcome back to a new video on the channel. So in today's video, guys, I am going to be doing a bit of a different video today. So today I'm going to be ranking my personal list of the 5 best limited vehicles to ever come out in Greenville. Keep in mind, this is my list, so these are my opinions, of course, and you guys are definitely subjected to your own opinions, so please list down your guys' list in the comments below in case you guys have anything different to me. But anyways, let's get straight into it. So for the first car here, we actually have the F40 Competition. Now, the reason why I'm putting this car on number 5 is because, personally, in my opinion, it's easily one of the most detailed and just overall cool limited cars in Greenville. And I mean, when it comes to most limited vehicles in this game, a lot of them are cars that you wouldn't necessarily want to drive just because of how stupid they are. But this is one of those cars where, even though, you know, this game is set in like a small town, it's actually a car that you want to drive around in, / something that's actually really just cool to have in your inventory. Plus, it's a car that will most likely never be added back into Greenville in any other shape or form as well, which is why I personally really like this thing. Also, it has a super detailed model as well, and despite the crazy expensive price that this thing had, it was definitely a worth it purchase in my opinion. Plus, it has crazy performance as well, and it's overall just one of the most iconic cars of all time, so you can't really go wrong with it, to be honest. Alright, so I think you guys are going to be pretty surprised with number 4, but for this one I actually chose to put the GoKart. Now, a lot of you guys are probably wondering why I put the GoKart as the 4th best limited vehicle in Greenville, in my opinion. And it's basically just because, even though technically, yes, there are other cars that I would put in the number 4 position that would probably technically once again be better, this is just like such an iconic vehicle, and we're probably not going to see much other vehicles like this in Greenville ever again. Plus, I mean, it's literally a go-kart. Like, it's kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I've always wanted some sort of go-kart in some shape or form in Greenville, so I mean, this is kind of a dream for me, to be honest. And plus, it's just such a unique vehicle that you just don't really see often in games like this. And even though there were also other cars from the April Fool's update that I could have probably put on this position, this one, in my opinion, just took that because not only is it something like super cool and unique, but it's also something that I could actually imagine myself like driving around in on occasions. So yeah, very cool vehicle, and I know that a lot of people have actually loved driving this thing. And I mean, it may not have the greatest performance, but I mean, dude, it's a freaking go-kart. You can't go wrong with this. Now, here at number 3, we have a bit of an older limited vehicle, and this is actually the Truckler. And even though myself, at least, I'm not like a huge fan of Tesla or anything, this was like one of the first limited vehicles. It wasn't the first, but it was one of the first limited vehicles that I'd say people would actually want to drive around in. Because I mean, up until this point, a lot of the limited vehicles that were added were kind of just like troll cars and cars that, you know, people wouldn't really take seriously. But this was one of those cars that, you know, you would actually, you know, see and just like think, oh, that's cool, you know, and you could almost disguise this as like just like a regular vehicle, I guess, while also having like some cool, you know, upgrades to it, I guess. And I know that this is definitely one of the most sought after limited vehicles in Greenville at the moment as well, as I always get comments saying like, oh, I wish I didn't sell my Truckler, or oh, I wish I, you know, got the Truckler when it came out, and just stuff like that, basically. And that definitely heavily contributes to the reason why I added this to the list. And also, it's a limited vehicle that you don't really see people driving around a lot these days, just because this was one of those cars that a lot of people sadly ended up selling, just because it's so similar to the normal like Model 3 that's already in game. However, a lot of people came to regret it, and that's sort of made it one of the most like sought after vehicles in Greenville. Now, at number 2 on the list, we have one of the most, if not the most iconic limited vehicle in Greenville, and this is the Wagon. So I know a lot of you guys probably aren't very surprised that I added this thing to the list, but this thing has basically gone down as like the most iconic vehicle in Greenville history, basically because of the fact that not only was this the first limited vehicle to come out in GV4 from my knowledge, but this was also a limited vehicle for a bit in GV3, and even though I don't think it was the first limited vehicle in GV3, just basically since this was the first one in GV4, and also just because of how many like iconic things it has. For example, it has an interior to it nowadays, and it easily has the most annoying horn of all time as well. It is honestly just super iconic, and even though deep down I really hate this thing, it's just something that you really, you know, can't disrespect because it's such an icon in this community, and I'm sure most of you guys agree with me on that. And plus, this car honestly kind of set the trend for like releasing limited cars to Greenville, because before this thing dropped, there weren't really any limited vehicles coming out. And I mean, even though this thing did come out in GV3 for a bit, there weren't really any other, you know, major limited vehicles in GV3 apart from like 2 others from my memory. And now, guys, for number 1 on the list, in my opinion, the best limited car in Greenville, we have the Time Machine DeLorean. And now, I'm sure that a lot of you guys probably agree with me on this. And even though some of you guys may say that this is a bad choice for the best limited car in Greenville, as a big fan of the Back to the Future franchise, this was easily one of the coolest things to be added to the game, in my opinion. And I remember when this thing was actually announced to release, and it was such like a hype train. It was honestly unbelievable. And I mean, also, this was easily one of the most detailed limited vehicles when it came out, and still probably is one of the most detailed limited vehicles to this day. I mean, they literally added like every single bit of like, you know, engine and like cables and everything at the back of the car right here. They also added all these lights and stuff when you like rev and stuff like that, and it is honestly just a super iconic vehicle. Like literally even outside of Greenville, this thing is like easily like one of the, if not the most iconic vehicle of all time. So it's honestly really sick. And also it is a very sought after vehicle in this game as well. Just like the truckler, I see so many people regretting selling this thing, and it's just such a cool car to own as well. But then something that's even better about this vehicle is that it actually has a secret feature to it, which is if you drive your car up to 88 miles per hour and then turn on your cruise control, then if you sit here for like a couple seconds, then you actually start time traveling, and if you wait a couple seconds, then you actually get transported into GV3, which was the previous, or like basically the last big version of Greenville, basically the version that came up before the revamp, and you literally get teleported all the way over here just from going 88 miles per hour in that thing. And that is something that like no other limited vehicle has. Like no limited vehicle has a secret that cool in my opinion, and that's why it just takes the #1 spot. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed this one, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And for those of you guys who disagree with my opinion here, please list your own list down below, because I'm honestly very interested to hear it out. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys want more videos like this, then tell me in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.